This is a brief introduction to the Hebrew textual critical apparatus that's available in Logos version 4, specifically for students at Moody Theological Seminary taking Hebrew 3. I've taken liberty of opening up a number of Hebrew Bibles and resources that help us with textual critical discussions. We're all familiar in our classes with the Anderson-Forbes, the AFAT text. Sadly, the AFAT text does not have any of the critical apparatus. The one thing that it does have is it does clearly mark the Kethiv Koreh issues. So if you look in Ruth chapter 1 here and you mouse down to verse 8, you will see that it has this raised kof, and that stands for the Koreh. This is the Kethiv, what is written, and this is the Koreh, and if you mouse over it, basically it's just the Asa without the Hey. So that's what's available in the Anderson-Forbes. Not very much, but it is the work that is available in the Scholars Edition of Logos version 4. We have, of course, another Bible for the add-in, which is the BHS Stuttgartensia, the SESB, Stuttgart Electronic Study Bible 2.0 version, which does have a lot of the apparatus. So here I have the Bible open, and as I mouse over it, it brings up the pop-up windows with the description of what is contained in the apparatus. And over here is certainly, of course, more of the details that shows up in the pop-up window. So if I mouse over and I want to clearly go over to there, it shows me that's the note over here on the right side for the textual apparatus for the BHS Stuttgartensia. So for instance, if we take a look at the verse 1 of Ruth chapter 1, we have this comment here where it says certain information. It's contained over here, so we can go through there. So here it's telling us that in this A to A section, here's the discussion that the critical apparatus has about this. What's nice, of course, about the apparatus in Logos 4 is that you're able to mouse over any of the symbols and it pops up what that is. So mousing over this tells us that this is the Septuagint, the Textus Graecus Originalis, and so that's the Greek version. And so how they render that section is into krenein, and that is basically what they're doing is they're leaving out the infinitive form here to judge. So basically they're just saying in the days of the judges. And of course the Syriac version also omits the infinitive form. So that's just letting us know how the versions have handled Ruth 1:1 and this beginning opening phrase. So that's what's available in BHS. Now let me also talk a little bit about BHQ, which is also available now in the add-in that you purchased. So again, it's not a complete textual apparatus for all of the Old Testament. In fact, there's only I think 7 books that are currently done. Ruth is done, Daniel, Ecclesiastes, Lamentations, Esther, Ezra, Nehemiah. So only 7 out of the 39 Old Testament books are currently in the BHQ textual apparatus makes it available. So the one thing about BHQ, the Hebrew text, is that it is not a morphologically tagged Bible. So if you open up the BHQ to the 7 books that it does have available, you'll notice as I mouse over, there is no parsing information about the actual forms, the lemmas. That you'll have to go to BHS or to the AFAT. But the textual apparatus of the Quinta version is much more robust. So for instance, if we go back to our example from Ruth chapter 1, verse 1, we of course still have this idea here of this in the days of the judges judging. And if we look over here to the statement that it gives a statement in Hebrew. It also lets us know that here is a 4Q Ruth, that's a Dead Sea Scroll manuscript. Also the Septuagint, Old Greek is what they're saying, as many of the manuscripts follow this reading. The Vulgate and also the Aramaic Targums, a later translation. So they render it in to krino to krites. So basically they're following the Masoretic. But the other versions follow other renditions. What's nice, of course, about the BHQ is it goes into much more fuller details with these kind of embellished plus signs. Here you have a pop-up window that takes us to a much more deeper discussion about it. They're basically following what others have said, and so you can read the descriptions there. So that's the BHQ. Now, as compared to what's available in a printed BHS, here this is coming from Brotzmann's book that's available as a resource within Logos. It has a figure of a sample page here in chapter 5 of what it looks like in the printed. So this is not a Logos encoded text, this is just an image of a printed BHS manuscript, what you would see if you had purchased a hard copy of the BHS. So this is what you would see if you were looking at the Hebrew text, and you can see the different areas. Here, of course, is the Hebrew text, but over here on the right is what is called the Masorah Parva, the small Parva. Masorah Magna, refers to another section of the Masoretic apparatus, and so this is much more the details there. Some of the things here, of course, it's not available, it links to it, but it's not visible like it is in the hard copy. So there's a couple of things that have been kind of helpful over the years in terms of looking at the Masorah Magna and Masorah Parva. For instance, when you see a lamed with a holem over it, basically it's letting you know that that's a hapax form. That's the only time that that form occurs in all of the Bible. And so this is from Numbers chapter 12 verse 4 going into 13. And so if I look over and bring over the Masorah Gedolah, here we have the explanation. So in Numbers chapter 12 and verse 5, we have this comment where if we mouse over here, this form here, it occurs, and the letter is Gimel, of course following the Hebrew alphabet. Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Aleph being 1, Beit being 2, Gimel being 3. There's 3 times in which this form occurs. One of them is in Numbers chapter 12 and verse 5. We're looking at it right here. We're looking at it in verse 5. Let me find it here, a little smaller text here. Right here at the beginning of this clause. And so it also then is found in Micah 6:4 as well as in 1 Chronicles 5:29. So this is the level of detail that the Masoretes did. Is anytime it was a kind of another way of spell checking, as it were, to make sure that their form was pointed the right way, that they know that this is the only 3 occurrences of this exact spelling of this form in all of the Hebrew Bible. And so the Masorah Parva alludes to that. And then the Masorah Magna gives the information to backfill the details there. One more thing, there's a couple of more resources that are available. They're not in any of the packages that are in Logos 4 Scholars Edition, but if you want to purchase additional sets and you are interested in doing more with the BHS, there is Wanneberger's Understanding BHS text that's available as an add-in. Of course, you have to purchase that. I think it's part of a BHS Helps set if you want to purchase it along with that. You can also get the Masorah Gedolah. That's not part of the package, the Stuttgart Electronic Study Bible. If you're interested in more detailed textual critical work, Masorah Gedolah is available as an add-in. And then there's one more book, the Masorah of Biblica Hebraica Stuttgartensia by Kelly, Minon, and Crawford. This is more of a textbook discussion of what's going on in the Masorah. So this is just a brief introduction to what you have available in Logos 4.